Good morning, kids. Good morning, families. Good morning, Highpoint. It is Monday, so it is time yet again for the new City Catechism. This week we are at question number 11, and so this week we're just going to jump right on in. So grab your books. We're gonna get there. But just kind of a quick recap of where we've been the last several weeks. We started to walk through the 10 Commandments with each of our questions, and so we're going to do that again today. So we're going to continue to build on these commandments, and most of the ones we've talked about prior, about loving God and how we're supposed to view God in our lives. And then last week we talked about how that affects and changes the way we should view our parents and treating them with respect and with honor. So go ahead and open up to question number 11. It says, what does God require in the 6th, 7th, and 8th commandments? 6th, that we do not hurt or hate our neighbor. 7th, that we live purely and faithfully. And 8th, that we do not take without permission that which belongs to someone else. So a lot of times you've maybe heard these commandments before, and that's the 6th one. A lot of times says, "Do not commit murder," and we always think that, hey, we have that. Like that's we don't do that. Like we're not ever guilty of that commandment. But I want to talk to you a little bit this morning about what God means with that commandment, and really what He means with all three of these as we kind of group them together. What God is talking about is the way in which we treat and how we think about and how we care and act towards one another. As that answer says, that we do not hurt or hate anyone. And we can fall short of that commandment even without ever actually doing anything. A lot of times it can deal with things we think, how we think about someone else, things we wish for someone else because maybe we don't like them, or maybe because they hurt us or anything like that. Whenever we have a thought of hatred towards one another, whenever we have an ill wish towards someone because of something maybe they've done, that is falling short. That is sin in the eyes of God, because our hearts are not loving towards them. God wants us to radically love all people, not just those that we agree with, not just those that we like or treat us nice, but all people. As we see I want you to open up as a family to Romans chapter 13 and read through verses 8 through 10 together as a family. Now, Paul was a man that early in his life, he didn't love God. He didn't love Jesus. I'll put it that way. And he was someone that wanted to silence Jesus and silence those that followed and believed in Jesus. But all that changed one day for him as he was going to a city called Damascus to make sure people weren't talking about Jesus. And it was on that road that God spoke to him, and his heart and his life towards Jesus was changed, and he became a person that traveled all over spreading the gospel of who Jesus is, planting churches in different cities so that they might become groups and communities of people that spread and love others well. And so this book of Romans is a letter to a church he had started in the city of Rome, and they had a whole bunch of problems. And this section of passage is how we must treat one another. He references these commandments of how we should treat other people. And I want y'all to look at verse 9 together as a family, and it talks about how that love should be shown. Is it half-hearted? Is it kind of lukewarm? No, it's this radical love that we are there, we care, and we serve one another. We can't love one another if there's any hatred in our heart. If we're taking things from other people that we know aren't ours, that's not a radical love. See, I want to ask you a question. When you think about love, that word, what do you think of? What comes to mind? For a lot of you, maybe it's this idea of romantic love, because that's what we see most of the time when we talk about it. Maybe you think of your mom and dad and how they love one another. But love is so much more than just that small section of love. It's this idea of the way we treat and the way we care for all of those people that are around us. That is what God calls us to. That's what we see Paul talk about here in Romans. We should always be concerned for the safety and the health and the well-being of all of those around us. That we do whatever we can to make sure all of the people that we know and all the people we come into contact with are taken care of, that they're okay. And so all three of these commandments fit into that group. That if there's hatred in our heart, we can't love well. That if we're taking things that aren't ours away from people, taking things away from people that aren't ours, we're not loving well. Loving well is making sure people have everything that they need to have, being there for them when they need help, supporting them, encouraging them when they struggle, and making sure that we do what's best for them, not what's best for us. If we live with a selfish heart, we can't love the way that God wants us to love. And that's at the heart of the 6th, 7th, and 8th commandment, is to love people well and to be selfless, to serve others. So my question for you to maybe talk about as a family is what does that radical love look like for you? What does it look like for you at school? What does it look like for you at home? What does it look like for you hanging out with your friends? And what are some areas in your heart and in your maybe your life right now where you know you don't have that love towards people? Maybe talk about why you struggle maybe with certain people, what it is about certain people that makes it hard for them to love. And then I encourage you together as a family at the end of this conversation to pray. To pray that God can root out any hatred or ill will that you have in your heart towards those people. To break down the walls that exist around the way we treat other people. To ask Him to give you eyes like His and to treat others the way He wants you to treat them. Pray that together as a family. And then go this week and just try and love people the way that you know Jesus wants you to love them. Serve them, help them, encourage them, care for them. Whatever you came to the conclusion of it looking like in your life, go and do that. And I think you'll see an amazing impact that you can have on the lives of others. And people will begin to take notice. Thank you guys so much. Again, I hope this is a wonderful resource for you and leads to some really awesome conversation and time together as a family. And I hope that last week y'all were able to have that meal around the table together and share sweet memories. We thank you guys so much. Hope you have a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye.